Toba, Toba, Kappa, acapella, it's a kappa, kappa, acapella, legal notice. Hello everyone, and today we are going to be doing a original episode of Simpvp Histories. Yes, this will not have anything to do with architecture, so for those of you who did not like the architecture series, but still enjoyed the fact that I was talking about Simpvp Histories, this should be a treat for you. Anyways, today we're going to talk about the world border controversy. Yes, something that not a lot of new players know about, but old players know all too well, and basically it is the reason why Simpvp has a slash world. Is the story of how that came about. In the early days of Simpvp, lots of new players were joining, and there were a significant amount of players who were online at all times. However, in late 2011, on the server on its current map, a controversy began to arise. You see, Simpvp, as I keep on stressing, is simply PvP. That's what it stands for, or Simplicity PvP. It is a PvP server, and now, if your goal is to have players PvP with each other, and you are running an infinite map, then players would rather just run away and hide and collect resources than PvP with each other, despite the vast amount of new players who were joining. Now, this was the basis for the world border controversy. I covered it just slightly in my long, almost 30-minute video about Simpvp, which I made in 2018. But given the influx of new players from alternative sources, I feel the need to cover it again and expose the new generation of Simpvp players to the history of Simpvp. According to the player Fluzz, in my interview with him in 2018, between the dates of December of 2011 and February of 2012, a 5,000 by 5,000 world border was put into place by the admins on Simpvp. Now, nobody who was an op or an admin on the server wanted to take players who were already far out and teleport them away from all their resources back within 5,000 by 5,000 from spawn. So, if you didn't die and you were over 5,000 by 5,000 away from 0, you could remain free to explore and roam around loading chunks and building out that far. But if you did die, you would be teleported back and you would be unable to get to your previous base. However, in spite of that, the decision to create a 5k by 5k border was extremely unpopular, and most players actually quit during this time. According to Fluzz himself, the player base declined by half. Well, I may have reason to doubt that. For one example, on the forums, many people proudly spouted out the fact that they were pro-limit, even making it a meme of sorts. To quote the player Pianissimo on the Simpvp forums, quote, "Many months ago there was a heated battle on this very forum. These were the questions asked. Would the 5k map limit succeed in increasing PvP significantly? Answer, yes, it has. The limit has been undeniably successful in this respect. Since the map limit has passed, PvP has increased threefold, probably a lot more. There are constant fights at spawn and throughout the limit between well-armed players. Feuds between rival groups have finally arisen. Simplicity has become a server of action. Would the limit be catastrophic to our player base? Answer, absolutely not. Nearly every single one of the limit opponents who threatened to quit the server are still thriving today, some outside the border, some within. To the contrary, the majority of the player base is now much happier, and there's been a marked decrease in threads titled "Simplicity is Boring. Why No PvP? Hate You, Ucar9." Would the limit lead to a marked increase in X-raying? X-ray has increased.
but nowhere near the projected levels. We have X-ray reports every so often, but the same has always happened. Certainly, the limit inevitably increases X-raying because bases are more condensed and easier to raid, but I'm sure we can find a solution to the X-ray problem, e.g. more ops, better procedures, better plugins. What doesn't involve compromising PvP? So, let's logically consider whether the limit has been a success. 1. PvP has skyrocketed since its implementation. The limit has 110% met its goal. 2. The old player base, rather than quitting the server in droves, is actually generally happier with the increased action. And 3. Downside, X-raying. X-raying has increased. A few recommendations for solving this issue are listed above. However, it's not like bases, or at least good ones, are lasting a matter of weeks before getting X-rayed. And here's my question. Would you be willing to sacrifice all action on a PvP server to reduce X-raying a little? Yes, only a little, because plenty of X-raying existed both before and after the limit. If you think I'm exaggerating the inaction of the server before the limit, think again. How many fights were there? 0. If the limit is too constricting, perhaps we can increase it, but do we really want to remove it? Just look at the past, and think about what the limit has done for you. Go vote on the limit at, and that's the link to the voting page, outquote. Now, what the truth of the matter is, I will probably never know because I'm not an admin and I don't have access to the statistics of the server and the player data. So, as you can see, SimPvP in its attitude and its purpose, I guess, its theme, has really changed throughout the years. Initially, it being a purely PvP-based community, with building just as a side note, whereas now it's fully evolved into a survival, exploration, old map type server, very similar to the likes of 2B2T, except for, again, the banning of hackers and other such exploits. Would you just look at this? Dang, Fluzz was not lying. There literally are whole paragraphs and essays about this. I mean, Rev obviously disagrees with Pianissimo. You also provide no evidence of PvP increase, just an unfounded comment. So, I mean, none of these people are admins. None of them know. Might is an admin, but he doesn't seem to be, commenting on any of this. And here he's quoted this. Oh my god, look at that. Isn't that just amazing? Here we can see the results of the unofficial poll for what the admins and owners of the server should do regarding the world border. As you can see, there are a lot of mixed feelings about this, but overwhelmingly the response is to remove the world border and try other solutions, and eventually that is what they did with the /world. Over a period of 6 to 7 months, according to Fluzz, the server experimented with a /pvp command that took you to an entirely separate server. Eventually, this was changed to a plugin with a separate world. This separate world could now be accessed by using the command /pvp, and thus the birth of the /world. And with that, the world border controversy was finally solved. The world border was removed, and the map was now set to be quote-unquote infinite. Everybody was happy. Well, probably not everybody, but most people were happy. I mean, let's face it, if the server now had a 5k by 5k 1,000 block limit on it, I really don't think I would be playing on it. And I don't really think a lot of other people would be playing on it either. But what do I know? I'm just me. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed. I've been Lord Pasta, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.